Okay, so this is me getting ready to reveal these dreams, and dream one is basically a I want to say it's whole. Let me just get to it, and then you can see for yourself, because it's just a revelation of what's to come, that Jesus is coming. Man, I mean, he is coming quicker than we think, and this is just him telling me, hey, he is coming. Y'all need to get ready. I mean, get right, get prepared, because God's coming, man. Jesus is coming. Now, I'm going ahead and I'm going to get into it. I'm going to read it, even though I remember every bit of it. But the details and the wording is what's important here for y'all to get and to understand. Okay? And I don't want to leave it. Now, and also, I get sidetracked a lot because I ramble on too much. And so I don't want to have to keep making like 20 million videos because I was rambling on, but let me get to it. And so this is dream one. And this is the one that God had me replay for like 20 minutes while I was laying there in the bed. And then before I could even move or do anything. Okay, so this is dream one. Okay. I'm in this group of people. Now, I don't know them. I don't know any of them, like how if I'm awake or I'm on earth. So I don't know any of these faces. But I know that I know them. Okay, if that makes sense. It's only because we belong to this, we all belong to this group. Okay? All these group people are excited because a wedding is taking place. I'm excited also with these people. So all these people, they're going around in the whole crowd, and they'll keep talking about this marriage, right? Everybody's excited. There's marriage talk. Oh my gosh, we're all betrothed. Now, it's a mixed group of people. I mean, by that I mean, of course, it's mixed race, but that's not what I was referring to. I was referring to is the marriage wasn't just all women. This was all both men and women. Okay. Now this is being held in like this square office building, like a big old, like has many stories. And I know I'm like whatever level, because I could tell by looking out the window that I'm several stories up. Okay. Now, and it is like this, square building, like office building, and it has many floors. And outside the windows, I could see a parking lot on one area on one side, and on the other side is like a park area, with trees, pathways, streetlights, and benches. Now, I'm just looking around my surroundings because, like, I knew I was supposed to be there, but I had never been to this place before. So I'm just observing my surroundings. I almost lost my place because I keep looking up because I don't want to be rude. And I was looking around, and the people was chatting about the news about the marriage. Then everyone first, it was one or two people who came up to me, because everybody's still going around chatting about the marriage, right? And then everybody's come up to me being all joyful. I mean, everybody's just excited and joyful. And why the word joyful? I don't be using like, oh, we were so joyful. Don't use those words. But everybody was excited and just joyful and saying, it's you, it's you. It's you, you have been chosen. And look at me. And you're the one, you're getting picked. You're the one who's getting married. And I'm like shocked at first. But then it hit me that this whole group, dudes and chicks, we was all waiting to get married, but none of us knew who our spouse was. So even though we was all there, none of us knew our spouse. We just knew that we had been picked and we had been chosen to get married. But that part didn't matter. It was just waiting to be called. So we was all just sitting there just waiting to be called, and I was being called. And each of us just excited. We're just joyful. And we were selected. And everybody kept saying, I can't wait for our groom or whatever. But I mostly heard just groom. I didn't hear, even though there's dudes in there. And I'm not, and none of them was like gay or nothing. They only kept, the word groom was being used, okay? So during this excitement, I get closer to like another woman. And it was just mainly me and her talking while everybody else, was fading in the background. But we could still hear the chatter. But we was mainly talking. And we was doing this silly, girly excitement marriage talk, which is something I don't do. I don't do the girly girl, talk. And I don't be like, oh my gosh, but me and her was, and I was more like appeasing to her and listening to her, chit chat about this thing. But it was the most of the focus was on this lady, okay? And even though I was excited, and the excitement grew and grew, the more someone talked. And the more people talked, the more I learned about the situation I was in. And like being in a group it was like being in a group, in a chosen group for marriage, waiting, so forth. So while she was going on and on, I would just turn to her and just nod my head and yes, yes, yes. Oh, well, that's fantastic, being kind of nice, because she was just going on and on. But because I was more focused of like looking out the window for some reason while she was talking. And I guess that's why the more the conversation just focused on between me and that chick, because I was like, didn't really care, and I was more focused on this window, but she was right there. Okay? So the park area, while she was going on, her voice started to fade. Just faded a little bit. Because something seemed more powerful that was drawing me to look out the window. And I was looking out the window, the park area side. Okay? And as I'm looking out the window, something powerful, very powerful, could take place. And I could feel it, but I couldn't see it. Like it was just like this. I could just feel it, which is what made me look out the window. And I knew something powerful had just taken place. Something very, very powerful. I mean, just like the whole earth shook kind of thing. Okay? And while I was realizing that, I'm like, something in my brain was going, something just happened, something powerful. And I wanted to turn to the lady and say, did you just see that? Because I knew something happened, but I couldn't see it. But I knew something happened, but I couldn't see it. So as I was going to go turn to this lady, that's when everybody goes, you've been picked. You've been picked. Your groom is ready. And I'm just like, now I'm distracted from what I knew, what I was supposed to be focused on. So I turned to them, and everybody's shouting by the door, you have been picked. So then I turned, and I'm like, okay. But then I knew, I was like, oh, don't lose sight. Don't lose sight. Don't lose sight on the focus of what you were staring at the window. And, but I kept focusing on what they were saying, because they kept going, he is here. He's here. So when I turned to look, that something major happened, everyone who felt it and everyone knew what was going on, sort of, because we all knew that something happened to everybody else. It's like as soon as they said he is here, everybody stopped. And now all our focus was on just everybody in the room, just the chosen in this room, okay? And everybody was now paying attention to what I had already knew, that something major had happened. But nobody seen it. We could all just feel it. And it was all a big mixed emotion. But a sadness. Even though we had so much joy and excitement in her, a little sadness filled our hearts because of the something that was going on. And I looked at the lady, the one I was particularly talking to, and I'm like, did you see it? Did you see what happened to the people in the park? And so I start pointing out the window because I had been staring at it, right? And then she looked and said, yes, but we can't remember. And I'm thinking, yes, I didn't see it. I just knew it. And so I was like, they did a man, it was like, they must have did a Man in Black. Like a, because we both knew it, but we couldn't remember it. But we was allowed to remember that we knew something big happened, but we wasn't allowed. Whatever that big something happened wasn't for us to see. And it was a known fact to everybody in that room that we knew that it was going to happen. We knew it was something major, okay? But we was not, that God didn't want me to see that. What was being taken place was not for my eyes to see at that moment. And now I'm going to make a part two.